All right, man. Well, welcome, everybody. This is the CyphaDen Chat podcast in association with the Denku podcast. I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. I got my homie Attitude Era Pestilence in the building.
Wait, it's the best though.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And special guest this evening out in the La Crosse area. We just did a show. It was super dope. I played multiple shows with them. Super cool people. My homie Fernando Mendoza and Amelia Lidstrom in the building. How are y'all doing this evening?
Yeah.
We're doing good. Super good. Yeah, we've been talking about this podcast all day. So
That's dope. That's what's up. Yeah, have y'all done podcasts or is this like the first
I did a
official?
little one with La Crosse Local, which was like really, really fun. And now this is really exciting too, because ever since I was all little, I like dreamed of being interviewed. So this is
Yeah.
I've done like three, lacrosse local, and my homies had their thing going on, but they don't do that anymore. But it was still fun to do it, and just
Yeah.
kind of I've always liked that stuff. I actually never really listened to podcasts as much when I was younger, but now I do, and I really enjoy podcasts. So
Yeah, it's definitely a popular thing in this new age that we're in. I've told people before, I never really got into podcasting. My homie Rambunctious got me into podcasts. Shout out to Rambunctious, that's the CyphaDen family right there. We should do a whole lot of hosting together. He has been a part of the CyphaDen Chat earlier on before he made his move. He's down in Austin, Texas right now doing his comedy thing. So yeah, shouts to Rambunctious. Before him, I never really paid attention, never cared. And then randomly, I realized how many people I know that it made sense for me to do a podcast because I could get so many cool guests that why the fuck not? It's pretty much what I feel about it. So that's pretty much how my whole thing started. And now my homie Pestilence, he's got his own joint with his Two-Face Media crew called, what is it, Pesto?
Fuck Bro. Fuck Bro podcast. It's on the Two-Face Media YouTube channel. I actually haven't been on, and I probably won't be on until after we're through with the tour stuff because I've been really busy
Mm.
with that, and then like just daily obligations outside of music, but mostly just doing music stuff. Has taken up a lot of time, and that just doing that podcast, it takes a lot. We would review music and stuff like that, and they're still going strong. It's still the Two-Face Media fam. Lobotomized Geniuses, Nate Nasty, and I Be Bumping are kind of spearheading the operation over there. So shout out to those guys. We had them on the podcast earlier. And then I know Space Case, DJ OG, and Mars One have been um, co-hosting that pretty frequently as well too. So that airs every Sunday over on the Two-Face channel as well. So, but I was doing it weird. I mean, it's a weekly. I think they switched it to bi-weekly now, but we were doing it weekly for I think we got like 25 episodes in before we finally like ran into too many other obligations. But it
Yeah.
was fun, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, things, life happens, things happen. But
Right.
yeah, so Fernando,
yeah,
Amelia, you where did music start for y'all? I mean, basically, let's do that.
you want to start first?
sure, yeah. Well, I've always been singing. It's just like the way that my soul breathes. So I've always been singing my whole life. And the second I knew that some of the singers that I listened to, they didn't write their own music. Like I listened to Barbara Streisand, like a lot when I was a really little girl, like singing along. And I knew that like a lot of the singers that I was introduced to by my parents, they didn't write their own music. And then I heard the term singer songwriter, and like those were people that wrote their own music. And I was like, that's me. Like that's what I'm gonna be. And I just always wrote and just like loved the look of like words on a page, and it just brought me so much like pleasure just to see like the layout of like poetry and words, and just I don't know, like how you can just paint like a whole picture with words, and it doesn't even have to make any sense, and yet it can still like bring an image to the subconscious. And so I've always been like so passionate about writing, and so like both songs and poetry. And then that's eventually how I got into rapping, because I'm a poet, I have a great sense of rhythm, very intuitive with music, and so it just naturally led into rapping. And I started playing some shows in high school. Like I played piano and guitar and did that. And then I started producing my own music. At some point, I've only released a couple of things. And then the other stuff I have out is with Fernando. But there's definitely more to come in the future, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, and I played a lot of open mics around the area for a while, which is how people know me more. It's because I used to play like the Root Note open mic every single week here in La Crosse, which was kind of like a big thing, like already a while back now. But yeah, I mean, it just my whole life. So
That's
yeah,
what's
I
up.
took voice lessons. I'm like trained. I took voice lessons, so I'm trained in musical theater and classical music. So I did like the opera stuff, and the musicals and whatnot. And I used to have to do like recitals, and yeah, I took piano lessons. My mom is a piano teacher and my dad is a piano technician. He rebuilds and tunes Steinway grand pianos. So it's just very much like in my blood.
Oh yeah.
And I guess for me, I would I would draw a lot and do a lot of artwork when I was younger. Something I really enjoyed, and uh, I realized I was getting a lot of people's like attention doing that stuff. Um, but I kind of wanted to like to branch out more, and I've always kind of been like a very talkative person, and kind of just I feel like kind of outgoing a little bit. So I um doing that like made me want to branch out to even like music and have a platform and just be out there more. So I started writing a lot, and I was also like I literally just started writing more like poems when I was younger, and then I would show my friends and they thought that it was super good. So after that they were like, yo, we should do this show, this like talent show, and like just go for it. And I was new, like going from Vegas to West Salem, Wisconsin was like a trip, you know? So I was scared to go in front of people, like as far as like, because there was no Mexican, there's no nothing. It's just like, full white audience. So I didn't know, like for me, I was nervous. And then before I knew it, I freestyled in front of everyone and everyone went like pretty crazy over it. Which kind of helped me just to keep writing more and just kind of perfecting that. And before I knew it, I never stopped ever since then.
He read the dictionary like when he was younger.
That's
That's
true.
how into writing he was. He read the dictionary.
I
It is
did.
so dope.
My mom would come home and she would give me like literally like a thesaurus or a dictionary. She's like, I
That's
got
what's up.
yeah, and I would read it and like sometimes I would write rhymes and then people would be like, I don't even know what that word means, and I'll try to explain to them. But I've always enjoyed it, man. It's one of those things where I just when I keep going, I never wanted to stop. Uh, and then I also saw all the beauty that comes along with music and stuff, and it's definitely been the biggest trip of my life doing music. But yeah, matter of fact, that's pretty much where I met Amelia. Um, I was making an album and uh, I was asking people around like who's like a really good female singer around here, and I heard Amelia's name come up more than once, so I was like, I gotta check this.
And I had just gotten on social media because I didn't have social media for like 10 years. I was like, fuck this. And I deleted everything. but I decided to get back. I decided to get on Instagram, and then like I'd only been on there for like a month or something, and then he asked me to be on his album Seeking Paradise. So
That's what's
yeah.
up. That's dope. That's dope. That's yeah. That's super dope. You know what stands out about you guys talking about your music? I mean, yes, Amelia, definitely music has always been there, and that's super dope. To be around and grow up around that. And then Fernando, you know what's cool about being out in lacrosse that I've noticed recently, like doing
Yeah.
shows with y'all is, and I made a post about it after the show, is how I feel like every show that I've done with y'all, it's not just me that's doing fucking freestyle segments.
Yeah.
And that to me is dope because most places I go, lost art, people don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Milwaukee, I barely ever see it. I've toured all over, rarely see it. I can probably count on my hands how many times I've had dope ciphers, you know what I'm saying? Like in different locations. Like it's not like I don't often have things like that happen or even improv things like how at this show we did this last Friday at Grounded. Shouts to Grounded Patio one more time for hosting the last show that we all did out there. And I thought it was even cool how like there was like the improv that Georgie did where he brought up the other I'm sorry, I don't know the
His name's
guitarist.
Derek Jorgensen.
Yeah, so he brings him up and they just jam out on some improv shit. And I'm just like, this is dope. It's dope how
Yeah.
that and it always happens at every show I'm with y'all.
For sure, man. I still can't stop thinking about that one dude that just came up. I don't know who that fool was. I thought he was gonna tell me to like turn it down or maybe, like, but then I looked at his face and I know when I could look at someone, I knew he wanted to get up on stage. And it's one of those things, it's like he could be bad or he could be really good. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not even what it's about at that point. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, you
uh,
definitely did the crazy risk thing that a lot of people would not have done. But it was dope that you did it. And it played out in a way like he could rhyme a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it wasn't a complete flop situation. Pesto, if you were there, you probably would have like the eyes would have got open. You couldn't have even seen the Pesto eyes, or you maybe could have seen them through the lenses. Like his eyes might have got so big through the mask because Fernando just randomly was performing, and then this guy is just walking the street with his girl, vibing out, and he walks up to the stage, and then Fernando just like brings him on stage to rhyme. And I'm just like, bro, what's happening?
he's like, you rap? And the guy's like, yeah, and he's like
What's crazy? I seen that fool 3 times already.
we saw him the next day
Yeah.
then.
Saw him the
Yeah.
next day, and then I saw him twice. I think it's like Friday or Saturday or
I don't
something.
even know.
Yeah.
We saw him like the next day. That's all I remember.
That's
It was
what's
very
up. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, but it was a fun show that day, and like, there's a lot of people that like performing, but they don't have like, they don't. First of all, they don't know how to book shows, or they
Mm.
don't. They're shy in general to have their own set. So that's why I bring up my homies with me, because I think it's dope that they could, do their thing too, and because they talk about it like for a while after, bro. Like it's not a thing that we just let whatever.
well, it brings the variety. It just like
Yeah.
makes it super exciting. It was funny because it said hip hop on the patio, but then before you know it, there was funk, there was reggae, there was rock and roll, and it was all within the opening act.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a whole different vibe of a lot of different genres going on, which that's dope. Like I like cross genre shows. I know my homie Pestilence likes cross genre shows. We've talked about doing some more of those in the future, which I think would be dope, definitely. Uh, but tell me about how the Lavender Project came to be, because you have a side band that you also do music with, which I think is super dope. That y'all are both just artists. You got your own thing, but then there's also the Lavender Project, which is your band. So tell me how that came to be.
For sure, man. So I was doing music already, pretty much. And matter of fact, just to bring in just a little like a little bit more back, basically, I would be writing all the time, and a lot of people knew me as the guy that was just like make beats or just be in the studio or my basement and just make music. And Chris, my friend Jet Hurts,
Mhm.
comes downstairs and he's like, "Yo, I've been writing a lot, but I've been afraid to show my friends because all his friends they didn't care about that. They were more like the jock guys that would almost make fun of him for doing
Mm.
that. So I was like, yeah, like let me see what you got." And I loved it, man. I was like, dude, this is sick, like. And then I was so happy to find someone in West Salem at all places, very small place, like to find someone that's like also gonna, he said like I'm down for this. Like I want to have shows with you. I want to, pursue this. So I was like, dude, let's do it. Long story short, we um years past, man, we just did a bunch of music. We had like random like I had like a lot of solo shows. And then one day this the Crosse locals actually, they're having this band called Knee High July, which are good friends of mine. They're
Mm.
doing like a live session. And they were like doing like a live show or
Because it
whatever.
was over COVID, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was
And
over
they
COVID.
couldn't have like an in-person gig, so they just recorded it like
Yep.
with a really good sound system and streamed it live.
Yeah, and basically after they did their set, Chris grabs the mic and starts rapping, and he's under the assumption they're just not recording, but he starts rapping, and then before you know it, a lot of comments or people being like, "Yo, we need this, we need that," like we need more rap in this stuff. And it was a trip because then he hits me up and goes, "Hey man, the lacrosse local wants me to do a live session, but I don't know if I want to do a solo one. What do you think about making a band?" I was like, I was so pumped, man. I've always wanted to play for like with the band. And it was a trip, man. Like next thing I know it, I'm going down to a basement and I see all these musicians. Um honestly it took off from there. Our first show was like a live session in a terrible place, like in a almost like an auditorium thing. And we still carry what we have like before now to this band because we do a lot of freestyling. I freestyle more than half of the show
Mm.
just with the band. And yeah, so we just been pretty grateful just performing ever since.
That's
And we don't
dope.
even have music out. We just for some reason get hit up from places to come perform and play festivals and stuff.
Yeah, people love the Lavender Project.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's super dope.
Yeah, dude. So I've been pumped about that, and yet again, it always trips people out once I'm done with the show. They were like, "Yo, the way you said this and that like tripped me out." And then I was telling them, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was just freestyling," and they can't believe it. They think I'm bullshitting them. But like, no, like I was freestyling. I don't know how to tell you. Like,
Yeah, it's
Him and
lost.
Chris, him and Jet Hurts do a really fun like back and forth freestyle thing that they do too. Like
Mhm.
he'll say one line and then Chris will say a line and they just go back and forth, and that's always really fun to watch.
yeah,
That's dope. Um, yeah, freestyle is definitely a lost art. I tell people all the time. Um, you know, even the legendary freestyle dudes like shouts to my dude Juice, like we've done sessions, but he'll even tell you it's a lost art form, like it's not appreciated by many people. I think that's why people will say that they don't believe you're doing it, because a lot of people, especially in the new generation, I don't even think they know what a real freestyle is. And there's the controversy now because Big Daddy Kane officially came out at some point and said a freestyle is just um, a rhyme that has no subject matter. where you're just going off on a tangent. It can be premeditated or it could be, it doesn't have to be off the top. And then the off the top heads where that's where we know what a freestyle was to us is it's off the top, like it's improv, it's in the moment, shit like that. But now you have these people that, there's two definitions and there's two different ways, and it is what it is. Like to me, a freestyle will always be off the top, in the moment, improv shit. That's how I grew up knowing it.
Same. Yeah.
That's what it's always been. But now, when somebody like Big Daddy Kane comes out and says shit like that, I guess you just kind of fucking gotta accept what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I actually learned a lot from Big Daddy Kane, believe it or not. And I was like, I would listen to him a lot. He really tripped me out the way like his flow was and everything, um, and pretty much though, like Jet Hurst really helped me out when we freestyled, and instead of going to parties when we were like hanging out like as teens, we would like kick it in the cars, like smoke weed and rap for hours and hours and hours. Um, yeah, and it's crazy now because now we're like we don't live like as close, so we don't like freestyle as much together, but we still
Yeah.
talk about it and we miss it,
So you moved from Vegas to West Salem, and now you're in La Crosse. Is
Yep.
that? And
Yeah.
Amelia, you grew up in the La Crosse area. You're always around.
I grew up in the country in southeastern Minnesota.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I lived in Duluth for a bit and lived in Seattle for like just a short summer. And then yeah, La Crosse after that.
So, being from all these different places, um, I'm not sure how much in depth you were with the music in the different areas, but can you describe the different vibes potentially of the different areas that you either grew up around music or have been to, like, because I've played Duluth. It's a whole, you know, I don't know if I get the same vibe sometimes. I mean, maybe. I mean, it is a college town. Different people there though. Maybe. So I don't know if I get the same vibe as like the lacrosse vibe. I don't know. So I guess what I'm saying is, what's the different vibes from the different areas?
You want to go first?
Yeah, dude, like growing up, like being in Vegas, I would always see people like performing. Matter of fact, there's a show like every day,
Mm.
but my family would go to like a lot of like Mexican stuff, and I would see the performers up there, and they would have these crazy bandas. They're called bandas, like a big group, playing Mexican music, and I loved it. I always would look at the performer, seeing what he was doing, how he would get people's attention, so he doesn't make it boring.
Mm.
So I would learn a lot from that stuff, like a big Mexican background, big groups and everything, and then so I learned a lot from the performance, like what I do now to this day, to like stuff like that. But then there was also a lot of uh rappers too. But a lot of rappers were, for me, like there was good shows, but then there was a lot of, like, I thought personally there was a lot of kind of whack shows, just because you had to be like part of their team to be like, I don't know, so then to kick it with you or some shit. Like, and I didn't mess with that. I thought it was kind of lame. But there's a lot of talented people up there, and I remember a lot of my friends wanted rap and everything, but none of them knew how to book a show, so they
Mm.
never played a show. To this day, I don't think they ever played a show, but um, yeah, there was a lot of house parties we would go to, and there was more shows like that there. So
Mm.
there was music everywhere, basically. Like, more diversity. There was more. I heard a lot of stuff too. Not just Mexican and like rap, like um, a bunch of stuff. Actually, I grew up in a lot of Chicano rap.
Oh, okay.
I'm Chicano, so we would hear a lot of that stuff. Like yeah, like almost like Spanish and English rap together. Um, so yeah, there's a whole bunch of music out there. Matter of fact, I went there a couple of years ago, and it was cool to go and actually perform with the band
Hmm.
there, and it was apparently super hard to do so. But my cousin was like, "Yo, my cousin Raz, please get him up there," and the lady was like, "I don't know, like you have to book and everything," and he was like, "Please," and I think he gave her money. Because before I knew it, I'm up there with this band, and this incredible band, man. They were killing it. Um, uh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's like a lot of music, and then coming over here, there's not. I feel like not the craziest big diversity of music, perhaps.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
shows I've gone to, a lot of like rock, bluegrass, or they do a lot of covers. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and for me, after a while, like I personally don't go to cover band shows. I just don't. Um, but there's a lot of that around here, so it's very different for me. And then like literally rapping, like in front of people or like even dancing and doing all that stuff. A lot of people almost sometimes be like, "What the?" We're not used to it like that. Yeah. Well, we played for a lot of different people. I would never expect like the old white folks.
But then they always end up loving
They
you
loving
though.
it,
Yeah, they
yeah.
do. They always love it. They're
The-
like, I don't usually like
Yeah.
rap, but I really like you guys.
Yeah.
That's
True.
that's crazy because Pestilence knows, like, we've seen that in random places. Like it's it's just weird. Like maybe they're just not. I think they say stuff like that. Like I usually don't like rap, but I think it's because they never really heard or saw live hip hop or rap. You know what I'm saying? I think
Nah, it's a
that's
front. It's a front. They bullshitting. They fucking bullshitting, dude. I walked up a bar in the middle of fucking goddamn bumfuck Wisconsin, and like goddamn 9 senior citizen men were singing fucking "My Name Is" by Eminem. So them saying they don't listen to hip hop is a load of shit. They just don't like to admit they listen to hip hop. For some
well,
reason, it's like a taboo in their culture or age bracket for some of them to be like, I can't listen to that.
I
Bunch
agree
of
with that.
jabronis.
There's a lot of people like that. Like, yeah, I think maybe it is an image thing, man. Like where they just don't want to admit it. Or maybe they do.
I
Maybe
bet a lot of them haven't really listened to it, to be perfectly honest. But I mean, yeah, they like
Yeah, I don't think a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of these guys
they,
definitely didn't.
yeah, if they see it live, and then sometimes like you can form kind of a connection with the performer, and he's great with people. So Fernando really has a way with people. So people end up really liking it. And yeah, sometimes it's with Lavender Project too. So they like the instrumental behind it. It might make it a little easier, like more palatable for them to listen to rap if they like the more like the genre like being played behind the rap. It's not as like hip hop, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
Like
more like alternative, like I don't know. The new Lavender is a little different, but
that's true. Yeah, we
yeah.
kind of have some rock in there, which I think maybe they really
Yeah,
love.
yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, I feel like everywhere I've gone, we played, they loved it at the end of the day. Like they're like, oh man, this is really good. And they hit us up to go to festivals, come back to festivals because like a lot of the bands are literally like I don't want like there's a lot of good bands around here. Don't get me wrong. It's just a lot of them kind of play the same type of music.
Yeah.
So having like a hip hop after that, like they're like, oh shit, we need that to come to the festivals. Kind of make it a little different. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Um, don't get me wrong. I've been very nervous sometimes performing in front of some of the older white folks. Um, but yet again, maybe it's just in my head because then they always just
They
love
love
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
love it then. Yeah. Every time. They're all dancing.
Yeah, they're all dancing.
It
No,
takes one
it's
to start it, you know.
It's
Yeah.
the old whites are harmless. It's the young, extremely drunk and wayward that you need to fret about. That's what
I
the
agree with
void
that.
was just young, drunk,
Yeah.
wayward souls.
Yep.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly who you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've told the story on the podcast before, but we had probably one of the worst show experiences ever in Racine, Wisconsin, at this place called The Void. It was, I mean, we're not gonna retell the story because we've told it before. Actually, I think we told it multiple times because it just got brought up randomly. But basically, the show was fucked. It was real bad. It was
A lot
not
of people, no noise.
nothing. No response to anything that was going on.
Oh.
Like it was like, and it was, there was people there. Like the whole bar was packed.
60, 70 people for most of the show.
What the fuck?
That's
No
crazy.
noise, no call and
Zero.
nothing. Like it
Cricket
was like,
City.
Creepy.
It was very weird.
and
Oh.
we found, and there was crazy experiences all night long with interactions with different people. It was real
Yep.
crazy.
What place is this?
Uh, well, it's this place called The Void in Racine. I'm not saying
The
like
scene.
I love The Void because I love the
Place is
people
dope.
that own it. Like they're
Yeah, owner was awesome.
like they're dope. But like that particular night, it was a weekend in Racine downtown.
Full moon.
Like something was going on. It was just crazy. Like the whole
Oh.
area
Joker
was crazy.
Joker spread laughing gas through the city of Racine before we got there.
Something was
And then
something was
everybody
going on.
was fucked. Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm trying to think.
Have you ever had anything like that happen? Like no response from anyone. I'm talking about you're killing it because we killed it. Like we weren't whack. Like we killed our shit.
It still did the thing, yeah.
No
Yeah.
fucking response whatsoever.
Dude,
That's very
I'm trying to think about that. Like, I'm putting that like that image in my mind. It trips me out, honestly, but I don't think so, man. I think the smallest place and the place I never thought I would ever perform is a place called Toma, right?
Oh yeah. I was
yeah,
there.
and you
Yeah,
came
that
with
was
a-
a trippy show.
and
Yeah.
you know what though? Like I was thinking like it's just like it's a more like a hick town kind of deal.
And there was like different genres who opened up for us. There was
Yeah.
literally like an almost metal band that like went right before us.
Yeah, like which always trips me out, like a big band, and then you play right after. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, there was like a lot of biker people kind
A lot
of,
of
and it was sort of
biker.
like punk, like maybe like type
Yeah.
of situation, which is cool.
And
It was
then-
just a little different for
And
us.
then believe it or not, I'm thinking like, man, we're just gonna go like I'm nervous. I'm thinking they're gonna fucking hate us. And then before I know it, this guy's like, dude, I actually came to Toma to come see you guys perform. And we're like, what the fuck? And they look and like they liked it, huh? From what I could tell.
Yeah, there was no stage. So we were just performing like on the floor and there was no stage. And like there was a band that was set up behind us. So all of their instruments and everything were behind us when we were performing. And then I was like jumping around and everything. And I kept like by accident, like stepping on like, I don't know, one of their guitar pedals or something. And they had to try to tell me from the audience, like, hey, like you're stepping on like our guitar like pedal, and I didn't know what he was saying at first, so I just like was a bitch and like ignored him, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And but yeah, it ended up being totally fine. But anyway, that's just a memory I had from it.
No,
But yeah,
for
there was
sure.
no stage and there was kind of no room for us to
No
perform.
room, and like people were like close to us, like right there, and they were all like people you wouldn't even think would like, you know what I mean? Like for me, like I was thinking like they were gonna like rap around your hip hop or whatever.
Yeah, they
but-
were a little bit of a tough crowd. It was almost like they wanted us to prove ourselves. They weren't dicks, but they weren't automatically going to be like, oh.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. But they ended up liking us. So it was a compliment, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting show.
That was more the interesting one where like, yeah. And then it turns out the owners are Mexican, and one of the dude's birthday was like that day. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna switch a lot of this music, and I ended up doing more of my Spanish music. And that was even probably more of a trip for everyone there in Toma, Wisconsin, which is like a very small place around here actually.
It ended up being pretty dope though. Long story short, I think it
Yeah.
was a better outcome than what you guys had at the Void.
Yeah, it was.
Or even Iron Mountain. Well, Iron Mountain was redeemed by the children, but we had some weird interactions for like that one guy that came up to you and he was just like, yeah, he's like complimenting you, and then he turns to me and he just talks shit to me, and then he comes back to you, compliments you, comes back to me,
Yeah,
talks
what
shit,
the
comes
fuck
back to
was
you,
that?
compliments you,
What
and then
the heck?
it was
It
a
was.
guy that was in a wheelchair for the 2 hours before he interacted with us. He got out of his wheelchair and walked over to us and then like
Got
said
out
a
of his
bunch of
What?
wheelchair?
positive. Yes, he walked over to
Yeah,
Denku and
yeah,
Was
like
a
yeah.
just told him
miracle.
his life story and gave him a bunch of compliments, talked a bunch of shit to me, and then he walked over and stood in front of Green Jelly's merch table for like an hour and a half. I was like, dude,
Yeah,
this guy,
yeah, cause
this
yeah,
guy is
cause
so lucky he's not getting beat up.
yeah, it was crazy. Cause long story short, like we played a 420 show in Iron Mountain. Green Jelly was the headline. It was a mixed genre show, but fucking weird, fucking weird shit.
Damn, man. I don't think I've ever had like no one after talk shit. I had some girl like come up to Chris and I, and she went to high school with us. She's like, "Oh man, I always thought you guys were so like lame and cringe and all this shit." And then I was just telling us to her face, and we're just like, "What the fuck?" And then she's like, "But you guys did really good tonight. Keep it up." And I'm like, I don't know, man. Something about that rubbed me the wrong way. I
Well,
was
one
like,
time,
what the
Yeah.
one time at the root note, someone said to me, and I'll never forget this. They were like, "Yeah, when I first met you, I thought there was something like wrong with you. Like you were like retarded." And I'm just quoting them. That's what they said to me. And I was like, oh, like I wasn't even offended. I was just like, okay, like I don't know. Like I guess that's how I come across. I don't know, but I'll never forget that. That was hilarious. And then someone else told me that I talk like a gay man, and I was like,
Just be like, I thought you had herpes when I first saw you. They're like, oh shit, but that was just a preconceived notion. Now I can tell. You're cool.
Some, sometimes I always kind of trip out sometimes the nerve of people for some I don't know but something about it is like it just comes up to you and just tell you like man yeah or I don't know
I don't
man
know if we should be celebrating the honesty or
yeah
Somebody told Denku that he thought Denku's balls had sideburns
Yeah,
at a
that
show.
happened. That really happened.
what?
Yes. He
Yeah,
that was like he was adamant about it and he was trying to get the whole crowd on his side and everybody was just as confused as we were.
yeah,
They're like, what?
he was like, "You got sideburns on your nuts." I was like, "What the fuck are you even talking about?" Like
dude,
I
that's
like
like
I
a fight right
I literally
there.
walked. I literally was walking to take my merch back to the car, and then he says this, and this other guy's like, "You got a body in there," and he like says it multiple times.
What the
He followed us. He was like it was actually felt like we were in an RPG from like the early 2000s where it's like if you get too close to them, he starts following you and goes, "You got a body in there? You got a body in there?" And then like you get out of his range and he
oh
just goes back to the smoking circle. That's
It's like,
exactly
Yeah,
what happened.
yeah. I have insane stories because I've toured all over the place. I have really
man.
crazy, insane stories from random places. Um, But like I said, some of these crazy things around closer to the area just stand out as like being fucking weird shit that just happens.
Oh for sure I
I'm
actually learned sometimes to not be as it's crazy to say but not be as like accepting very nice to people sometimes because it's gone south on me before where this dude
Mm.
was like talking and he's like yeah man and he's like can I walk with you guys and I was like of course man come hang out with us and everything and then before I know it like I was performing and he stared at me bro like in my eyes the whole time he didn't stop staring at me like in my eyes and Chris looked at me like hey, you see this shit I was like yeah man let's just keep going right and and I remember, man, like we were done with the show, and I was like, we're gonna go back on stage, like backstage or whatever. And then I opened the curtain to see like if he's still looking at me. He's looking for me. He's just staring, like he's trying to look for me. And so we're like, yo, we should go to the back alley and we'll leave to our place, the hotel. The festival was booked for us. So we're like, all right, let's go. He was there waiting for me when we got back there, and he's like,
Oh
"Yo,
shit.
yeah." He was very like very stalking, like he was stalking us because we had to play for 3 days, and each day he was the first, he was the guy always in front and just staring into the hole for the longest time. It was a trip, you know. Like, and I
Oh
was like,
man.
how
That's
do I know
crazy.
this guy?
That's
You know, did I break his
that's
heart after?
that's crazy. But I bet you've never had this happen to you. I bet you've never had a random rapper come up to you and just randomly freestyle in your face with dandelions in his nostrils.
Everything sounded right until the last part.
Yeah.
No,
Because I've had that happen.
We had one Halloween show we did up in Sturgeon Bay. We went back to Spaces. It was like basically just the fam was going back there to kick it in the studio afterwards. And a guy from the show who wants to be a rapper but is not affiliated or friends with any of us jumped into somebody's van unbeknownst to them and just came into this party and started trying to challenge everybody to a rap battle.
what the
And
fuck?
eventually this dude named Charlie Brown, who is not a rapper, was like, fuck it, I'll rap battle you. And neither one of them was good, but Charlie Brown was funny. So he was getting the crowd on his side. And the other dude ended up having like I thought he was bullshitting. I thought like, is this like a fucking TV show that's like really poorly acted? Because he's like, you guys all suck. You're gonna see, like, I'm the best. Everybody knows I'm the greatest. And he fucking stormed out, like, crying and fucking left. He just, like, left the house. And he
Damn.
did not live anywhere near there. So he had to, I don't know how the hell or where he went.
A
Because
tragic
I was
tale.
pissing when that happened and I heard it. And I was like, what the fuck happened? And they're like, yeah, he got offended that people weren't digging his bars.
And you never know, man. Maybe that was the start of something great. Maybe he's super fire
Oh
now.
no,
Or
no,
that was his villain origin story.
it was his villain origin story because 2 months after that, I was in the hospital having surgery, and a friend of mine who knows him said that he was asking for my phone number so that he could use our studio to record music because he was like, they need to have some real music recorded up there. I
I
was
know
like, that's a
exactly.
great way to get somebody to help you.
I know exactly
So
those type of people. Yeah.
Space got his number and he sent Space like 3 demos and they were cringeworthy funny. Like some of the funniest bad rapping you've ever heard in your life.
That's
Like
like,
just it's like to the point where it's like, man, I can't even do you like anything else? Like that's what I would say if I was his friend. I'd be like, you into anything else, man? Like maybe you should focus more time on the other stuff because this is not I don't even know, like just scrap everything you're doing here and try everything again because it's just not working. And in
yeah,
Space, just kind of let them know, like,
real
yo,
friends tell
man,
real
just
friends. Not working out.
not the, yeah. He's like, this, I don't think this is for you. And the way that you go about carrying yourself is not a good way to get yourself into any doors where anybody's
Yeah.
Yeah.
going to teach you anything. So,
I just had a experience like that too, where dude was rapping on the beach. I'm like, hey man, he wasn't that great, but I was like, hey man, keep it up. I was walking by, I just stopped for a little bit and he was just doing his thing, trying to get people's attention.
Oh, I know
So I
that.
stopped by and I was like, hey man, like keep it up, dude. And then he's like, yo, let me give you my number, man. Let me give you a number. And I was like, fuck. I was like, all right, well, I'll get your number, whatever, right? And then he's like, call me. So I have your number. I'm like, fuck. So I called this dude and he's like, all right, I got your number, bro. I'll hit you up. I'm like, cool. I remember, I think I was in my car still and he hit me up. Yo, it's me. Remember me? I'm like, what the fuck? And this fool hits me up, talks about like, yo, I'm gonna send you all my music so you could book me shows. I was so confused. I'm like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? And and then he sent me his music, and I was like, yo, man, you fucking with me, bro? Like, I think he was trolling me, but he wasn't. Like, he was for reals. Like
Yeah.
getting pissed at me that I wasn't booking him shows. And it tripped me out. I was like, what the like I was getting kind of scared of this dude because he's like trying, he was getting like mad at me.
Yeah, that's when you learn to be a little bit more like exclusive about who you give your number to at that point.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of the same thing where like to
Yeah,
God.
some
Or the
people will
one
invite themselves.
Yeah, he was so hyped. Like he thought he was incredible, you know. And
Or the one guy who would rap at us in public. Remember when we'd be walking around, we would see that same guy. And
Oh,
at
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
beach,
yeah,
we
yeah,
saw
yeah,
him
yeah.
rapping at people. Like if you ever saw this guy in public, he would try to rap at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that
And he's
too.
never left. He like ever since he's seen him, he never leaves me alone. And it's like I'm not gonna tell him like, hey, bro, you suck. It's not. I don't really feel like I don't really want to personally.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, because their eyes, they're so into it. And they're like, I'm the greatest. I'm
Yeah.
good.
And
So I
it's like cool to be into it. Like that's great. It's kind of more of like the open mic vibes. It's like not everybody has to be good or whatever, but it's cool when people are into stuff, but at the same time, like it can be awkward. Sure. On how to deal with it.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is we're in an age um where a lot of people have circles of friends that will just tell them they're good because they're in their circle of friends. And then on top of that, those people will go around and meet new people that are actually good at something. And then they're in front of them and they already think they're good. And then when these people give them constructive criticism, they automatically get upset because people can't take constructive criticism. So there's like these two mashing things that are happening in the music realm, especially in the rap shit, like the hip hop culture, like all that. That shit is happening. It's actually probably been happening for even longer than just the new era that's going on, because I can think back probably 10 years ago, maybe even 15, where similar shit was going on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, uh, a lot of rappers can't take constructive criticism, even if it's from veteran people that have been doing this for a long time. Um, like my thing is, I'll accept anybody's constructive criticism of what I do, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna like really take someone's constructive criticism serious of me if they've been doing music for a year, because I've been doing music for 30 years.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
Or if they're not even really like that good at it either. Because I mean, you do have to have a talent and an aptitude and an understanding for something. And sometimes people who don't have it, like they don't know they don't have it. And like it's cool and everything, but I feel that way too about other genres, like the girls with the ukuleles now. Cause like, I'm a singer-songwriter and I'm like really actually quite good. And then there's all the girls now who are like ow, 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 like on their little ukulele, and everybody thinks it's like fucking amazing, and it grinds my gears. It's just like some people they don't really know like what good is, and there's a lot of that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
That exists in
I mean,
spades.
yeah, I mean, we're in the TikTok era. I mean,
Yeah.
TikTok makes people famous for not being talented at all.
Well, the other thing too is like there's this weird hater culture where everybody just immediately labels you as a hater if you say anything that is not to the utmost positivity of them. And a lot of the times, the people that can't take the constructive criticism, in my experience, are the people that don't have the work ethic that I think is imperative to, like, if you really want to do this, like if you want it to be a hobby, if you just like to do it to kill stress, whatever, that's cool. But then you're talking like you're the greatest artist of all time. Now you got to get your expectations tempered a little bit and understand that it's like, dude, like if you're doing, for example, there's people that release 3 songs every 3 years and they're tooting their, and it's like, that's cool, man, but like there are levels to it. And it's like when you lack that respect for those levels, I feel like it just shows that it's somebody that's unwilling to grow. And that's something like for myself, like I love to run into bigger sharks. Like when we first booked Denku, like we hadn't done any shows when I had started with anybody that freestyled or anybody that did a lot of crowd interactive stuff, stuff that included the crowd more so. Like Space was kind of the only one that was doing any of that. And then to see somebody like that, it just like it opened my eyes to like, holy shit, like there's another whole tier to, like the deliberance of your performance and like all the different things you can do, the different lanes you can go in, and seeing that. And like for me, when I see people that are clearly that in love with what they're doing, those are the ones, regardless of genre, that you can just tell immediately. It's like, I'm gonna sit and watch this. And it's like you said, like if you're like that with your ukulele, it's like that'd be the kind of music that, and I think that's why you get that kind of response from an older crowd or from people that aren't your people, is because that transcends that like passion. I think can
Yeah,
apply to anybody, regardless of if they're into that kind of genre of music or not. They see somebody that's that passionate, it bleeds through when you're
yeah,
performing.
for sure. And authentic, which relates to the passionate part. But yeah,
Right.
like really having your own source for where your music comes from, in your heart or wherever you feel like it comes from, but just something really authentic and really true.
Yeah. Pesto, you got any questions for Fernando and Amelia?
So you guys do a lot of stuff in lacrosse, and I heard you guys talk about some like small towns and stuff like that. Have you guys ever toured? Do you guys ever do shows like across the state? I know I'm in Green Bay, Denku's in Milwaukee. Do you guys
Uh,
ever do shows outside of your area, or are you guys kind of more dedicated to growing your local scene?
as far as like solo, I've done just more shows around here in like smaller towns. But with like Lavender, I do like shows like an hour, 4 hours away or stuff like that. But that's our goal still, to try to branch out still as far as anywhere. Seriously, I want to go different places because I love playing in here, but I also rather prefer playing somewhere else personally because people know me here. I think it'll be kind
Right.
of go somewhere else and make a name for myself there too. Yeah, so pretty much that's what I'm trying to do, trying to branch out more. And I remember, the first time I saw Denku perform, I tripped out because I was like, yo, like I've seen a lot of performers around this area and none of them came close to Denku.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm not easily impressed at all. Like I've seen a lot of live music and it's kind of whatever at this point. That's just me. But like, yeah, when we saw you, it was very like I had a smile on my face the whole time. And yeah, it was very by the end of it, you've just got like everybody like wrapped around your finger by the end of it. And it's really cool to see.
And it kind of changed the way, believe it or not, it changed the way I perform. Because
which is dope, man. That's dope.
yeah, for sure, man. Because I saw your flags and I saw the stop rapping over vocals, and it was crazy because with my band, I would just do like my vocals just straight up, right? Like no nothing. And then my solo stuff, I would like be putting like vocals. And when I saw that, I was like, it hit me because I remember I was telling all my friends not to do that as much, and then all of a sudden I started doing it. And so I stopped. I stopped doing that. I do like choruses, like the hooks, I let them play. But besides that, like I just, yeah, man, it really would be like, well, I could do it. What the fuck was I thinking, right? And so I just pretty much when I perform now, I plan to just, have no vocals at all and just kind of keep that going basically. So you pretty much inspired me to like when I saw that, it almost like hit me. I was like, the fuck have I been doing,
Yeah, I
Well,
think it
that's
was really obvious that like your music and like hip hop just like runs through your veins, like in just like such a raw way that I've never seen around here at all. Like, well, not really anywhere, not like I've been a lot of places or whatever, but yeah, just very very memorable. And it's been like so cool to like do a couple of shows with you.
Yeah.
And you guys have a
Yeah.
song together and it's crazy.
I know it was almost like there's a something I was kind of waiting for, if that makes sense. And then seeing the way like now you guys are gonna do all those tours and go all these different places. So it doesn't even seem real when I look at the fucking tour dates. I'm like, what the like how many places you guys are going to? So it kind of makes me be like, I need to do that. You know what I mean? Like just stop almost just go for it. That's the only way I could put it. It's like I just gotta go for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I tell everybody, like, if you're doing music and you really want to do the shit and you're real passionate about it, you gotta tour at least one time, just to see if that's your shit. Touring is not for everybody. It's definitely not. It's a grind. It's crazy. Like drive. Like it's crazy, and it gets real tiring. Like I've done a lot of tours, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think I've even told Pesto I'm a little nervous about this upcoming tour. Like 21 dates. My voice holding up for 21 shows in a row. I'm getting older.
Is that the
But
most you've done?
in a row, yes. Before this, it was I did multiple 15, 16-day dates. Um, I would do a bunch of 10, 11-day runs. Most shows I ever did, 2019, I did 125 shows that year. But it was spanned over 4 different tours and then random spot dates in between. 2019 was a crazy year, and I still have never topped that. Pandemic happened after that. I was planning on topping it the next year. I had 40 dates booked from the beginning of the year all the way up until June. And then I was planning on booking even more shit after that, but pandemic shit happened, and then it was what it was. But that's super dope that I inspired you to not perform over your vocals, and you guys definitely need to keep that trend popping everywhere you go, because it is a very fucked up thing that's going on in the rap world, especially. Um,
Yeah, I've never ever sang or rapped over any vocals one time in my life, and I never use auto tune. So I'm just gonna throw a little brag out there when it comes to like being a singer. Like I will absolutely never ever. And I know some people use it stylistically. I totally get that. But just for me as a singer, there's like a pride thing with it where
I
like
feel it.
you train like to be able to hit the notes perfectly, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel that. I'm not a big fan of auto tune either. I definitely know that there's stylistic ways. I've made auto tune posts. People fucking crucify me and get all up in their chest piece about it when I make them. Because I've never used auto tune for hooks. Never used none of that shit. Like, not my thing. Not my thing.
But now it's funny, like now I go to like a show or all like a hip hop show, and it's all everyone. It's just vocals in the back,
Mhm.
and then I don't, and
Good.
yeah, and
That's
then
good.
I don't know though. Like they'll be looking at me a little different for sure. I don't know if they think it's like, oh, me just like follow.
Well, I mean, it's like you got to put on a real show.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
have a real performance. Like
Yeah.
you have to have live vocals.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I even like so I started doing that, and like just like the people were like, I was the only different set, the only one, and everyone else did vocals in the back. And to the point where I told my friend, like, yo, I'm gonna call you up, but I'm gonna take your vocals out. And he was not having it. He was like, fuck that. Like, why would you do me like that? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, you have a great voice, I told him. He didn't get it. He was actually kind of pissed that I brought it up. I was like, he's like, I'm here to perform. That's what I'm gonna do, man. And I was like, all right, man.
Yeah, it's a crutch. And I mean, like, if people don't have experience performing without a backtrack, I can see where that would be like really daunting. But yeah, that's just a whole different way to look at it, I guess, because I never grew up thinking that, oh, I can just have something in the back and like I can just whatever. Like, no, because that's what makes an amazing performer stand out, is like that you can actually like do it.
And I look, you feel like, yeah, like around here, dude, you're gonna find everyone as a rap, right? They always put vocals. I don't think let's see what I'm trying to think of. There's one dude, Guess Pre. He doesn't put any vocals in the back. He's the only guy. I don't know anyone else. that does here in hip hop that everyone puts vocals. I've gone to a lot of shows and everyone puts vocals. Yep.
Damn.
Rovers.
Yep. As a matter of fact, there's this dude, I won't really say his name, whatever, but that dude got upset and he would start talking shit about us, saying that like pretty much that we gave him this constructive criticism and he got pissed off, started dissing our crew and was saying all this shit. And his mind was like on a whole different world, you know,
Wow.
and he was just pissed that we would tell him and something. He's like, well, you know, I got more streams and you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking. Like, if anything, I'm doing you guys a favor and all this shit, man.
Oh,
It was fucking
me
nuts.
me and Denku have never run into that at all.
Yeah, no,
No, we've run into that so many fucking times.
So
Oh my
many
God.
times.
yeah,
It's
man.
so bad.
Everywhere.
We've gone to war like 4 times over this shit.
But I could tell you this. If we end up getting this full stretch, the 3-day stretch booked in November, and I end up getting you either a Milwaukee, Madison, or Oshkosh show, any show I ever book will never have any over vocal rappers on it. I can't stand it so much that I will never put them on any show I ever do. I can't do it.
Have you ever
Cannot.
gone to a show like a rapper that you just kind of a bigger rapper in the like area and you gone to the show and like you pay for a ticket and then like they have their
Look-
vocals back the whole time?
Loonies.
Loonies raps over their vocals. We open for Loonies in Milwaukee, and their whole set was over their vocals. And they only performed for like 20 fucking minutes. I'm like,
And they
bro,
bitched at the sound man for
I'm
5
like-
of that 20 minutes.
I'm like, bro, y'all are the headliners. You have a worldwide hit song that everyone and their mom knows. Like, everyone knows I Got 5 on it. Everyone knows the beat. Everyone knows the song. It's been in movies. It's been so much shit. Like, everyone knows the shit. And you're going to perform that over the vocals? Why? You could have the whole crowd just sing the song. Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know that song. Bring me on stage. I'll do the first verse. Shit.
Yeah, literally. That reminds me, this is not hip hop, but like when I was growing up, my hero was Avril Lavigne. I just loved her so much. And nowadays, well, and she used to sing live and talk shit about people who didn't sing live. She used to play guitar and everything. And nowadays, she's got the backtrack. She sounds like shit. She's holding the microphone out for her audience to sing. Like, she can't hit the high notes. And it hurts to see like my old hero just go down such a bad path.
Yeah, that it is unfortunate. I mean, I've seen tons of people that like known artists, popular rappers that I own their fucking vinyl. Like, I've seen tons of these artists that I don't even think are great performers. Just,
Well, yeah,
just
I mean,
based,
some of them are making a shit ton of money too, and it's like they don't even think they have to put on a good show anymore. It's insulting.
yeah, which is why I barely go to shows.
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid to go to rap shows, to be honest with you. It's kind of a crazy thing to say, but it's true. Sometimes I go on YouTube, I'm like, oh, this fool, like, I want to see his performance. And I'm just kind of disappointed, man. Like, all of them have it. Not all of them, but pretty much all of them. Like the only one that, was crazy, the only one that didn't happen in the performance that I watched, like YouTube, was Lil Wayne, believe it or not. That was a trip, but
Yeah, and Snoop Dogg performs live. I've seen him live. He actually puts on a good show.
yeah. And everyone else, like all the new guys, it's all vocals, and they don't even rap anymore. They just let the song play.
Well, that's the thing is like we saw RA the Rugged Man did like crazy shit, like verbally crazy shit in a trench coat. Didn't have a single vocal in the background. He had Denku come up there and beatbox.
Yeah, it was crazy. That shit
Like
was
kicked
crazy.
me in the face. Like he just like that was a performance. You know, K Reno, same thing. Didn't no vocals in,
Yeah,
but then there are bigger ones that do it. And it's just like, man, it's
yeah,
lame because you don't have no other career, no mechanics or mechanicking over their vocals. You don't have no fucking carpenters fucking fixing your house over their vocals. Like, the
yeah.
fuck is this, man?
I think there is certain golden era legendary MCs that grew up in the era of where you always had to prove yourself, whether it's performing, whether it's in the songs you're making, whether it's in the ciphers you're doing. And I think those people still pride themselves enough to where they're gonna put on a live show. And I've seen those. There's definitely the golden era ahead. I mean, Onyx. I don't even know how Onyx does what they do. I'm not even gonna lie. These motherfuckers are over 50 years old. They literally jump around on stage, jump off speakers, fucking scream loud as fuck at the top of their lungs, doing their fucking songs for literally an hour, hour and a half, stretches of shows. And I'm just like, bro, how the fuck? Like,
That's
how
dope.
the fuck do you do with that shit? Because that shit's crazy.
That's super dope. I mean, people, they got to stay in shape. They got to take good care of themselves,
Yeah.
and that's cool because that means that they actually respect their craft. That's the thing. It's like some people they don't seem to respect their craft anymore. Like they forgot like the whole point of it. Cause the whole point for me, like if I listen to a recording, like a studio recording and it sounds great, the whole question in my head is, well, does it sound like that live? Can they do that live? That's my question I always have.
Yeah.
And if they can't, then I'm like lame.
Yeah, they had a hip hop show recently here. And like I said, some of these guys are my friends. So I'm not trying to do them that like the dirty, but I saw the videos, and each and every performance had all vocals. Not one person up there, dude. There was like 16 people. Not one person just rapped straight up.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's another problem. You don't
Me
need
and
six.
Denku at Iron Mountain, you and I were the only two
Yeah,
rap acts that didn't have
we
vocals.
were
Well,
we were
Force 5 too, yeah.
yeah. But that's another problem. You don't need 16 acts on a show. That's way too many acts on a show.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, like I've done it. I, I don't I don't like doing it. I'll never put myself on shit like that. But literally, like the first time I ever played with Onyx, I mean, there was so many acts. All of them rapped over vocals too, and then literally I went on to open for Onyx directly, and I mean the crowd loved it. Crowd loved the shit, but like it was there was literally probably 15, 16 acts on that show.
Was that
And
when you were Te Amo Mo Denku?
no, that's not that. That is the Jaron Benton show
Oh,
where they misspell my name on the fucking flyer. Uh, but but yeah, man. So those are two problems, I think. Like when I book a show, I try not to go over 5 acts. Cause like if you talk to people in the audience, like that are at a rap show, like that are there to like not just there for friends, but that are there to watch a show. They don't want to sit through like they can't even vibe to one act. Like they're literally sitting there through 16 acts. They don't even know what the fuck's going on. Who's who? Who's
Yeah.
this? Who's that? Like there's like the artist doesn't even have enough time to prove who they are. Like 4 to 5 acts is like the max.
Yeah,
I
how
don't think.
long are they even playing if it's like 16?
Well, the dudes, and first of
8
all,
minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he was fucking with me. He goes, "Yeah, you're on, bro." One show they wanted me to pay, which I was like, "I'm not fucking paying. Sorry,
Fuck
bro.
that.
I'm
Fuck
not
pay to
doing
play.
Yeah,
that." Like,
fuck
I
it.
was,
The play is whack.
and Oh, super quick. They had this rapper up here. I forgot who the fuck it was. I think it was like some fucking dude, like Lil Xan or some shit like that. And they wanted me to pay $400. No, yeah, $400. I sell the tickets. I make that money back, and then I pay for 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I was
You
like,
pay $400 and you're up there for 12 minutes. Oh, okay. Yeah, sounds like a real great deal.
That's how the rave used to do people. The rave, big venue in Milwaukee, they used to do people like that.
Oh, okay.
They used to want people to. It was even more than that. Um, I remember there was this group back in the day. I'm not even gonna say their name because I'm not even trying to
yeah.
diss them on the shit. But they uh they paid $600-700
Ooh.
to open for Method and Redman, and they had like they could recoup their money by selling tickets. I don't think they sold any tickets. I think they literally just paid $600 to $700 to open for Method and Redman for 8 minutes. 8-minute song slot in front of Method and Redman's crowd. Um,
Wow.
like and that's how
Ooh.
the rave used to do people. Like they have their favorite people that maybe one of the people at the rave like knows these rappers or knows this group where they'd be like, hey man, so I'm gonna have you come in and you can perform on this Wu-Tang show, or you can perform at this show or whatever. And then they won't have to pay. But then all the other local artists that want to open up for whoever, like I've seen them do it for Snow the Product, like all these people that come through here, I've seen them do it for this shit. And these people are they're be like, this is my chance, this is my big shit. Like I'm opening up for so and blah blah blah. But they paid to do that, and then they can maybe recoup their money off ticket sales, but they literally get there 5 to 10 minutes.
I told that guy I was when he told me this, and I was like reading it like it's like a fucking scam. I'm reading this shit and like I had to tell my friends about it. Like, read this shit with me because I mean I'm tripping out here. And they're like, "What the fuck? They make you want to get tickets and go around like a paper boy, like trying to sell these tickets, you know?"
Yeah.
Who
And
was that to open for?
Little Zane,
Lil Zane.
Lil
bro,
Xan,
Ouch.
Lil Xan or
bro,
something like
bro.
Lil Xan.
that.
He's not even little anymore. He needs to like change
Because
your whole shit. Like
well, did you see like because they did Afro Man, the dude we know, Denku, did Afro Man down there. And I know LG went down there, and they're from Minnesota. They travel. These guys put hours in to come down and do these shows. So they got onto that one, and obviously, like those guys live fucking 11 hours away. They're not selling a shitload of tickets to a show that's 11 hours away. So they get there, and they're trying to get some gas money, some food money and shit. So they're trying to sell their tickets outside the venue. And they got threatened to get pulled from the show for trying to sell their tickets that they paid for by being an opening act because the guy that was running it was that greedy.
Yeah, it's
What
fucking.
the
we know who that motherfucker is.
Well, and then
Yeah.
We don't even need to shout that bitch out either.
and then
Nah.
I have told the guy I was like, hey, with all due respect, man, I get paid because the guy that's booking all this shit told me about and then I was like, I get paid to rap, and he goes, well, then you shouldn't have a problem selling these tickets, and they run me the wrong way. I was like, what the fuck, man? What do you want me to do, man? You want to like, what's that thing? Like you make a cake and then you eat it too, or what the fuck's that saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Have your cake and eat it too, man. This
yeah, and
motherfucker.
like this was just sitting there while all these guys are running around town trying to sell his tickets, and I'm not doing that shit, man. Like I don't know that I never understood that, but I guess like you said, these people feel like it's their shot and whatever. But I just personally feel like I should be paid to perform. I don't know. It's kind of simple.
You're right.
Yeah, but I don't know. And then there's people you never heard of that performed at that show, and I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? And
Yeah.
and they thought they were
Yeah.
the shit. They were like
Yeah.
all the bottles, they're all posting these videos, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck?
That's how they do. That's
I
what they do.
open for this guy.
And that's why those shows are so bad.
Yeah,
That's
I
why they're
think-
so terrible.
I talked to this girl there. I talked to this girl who went there, and she was like, it was so fucking bad. Like she's like, I don't even know what was happening at one point. Like at one point, people were just going on stage and no one was rapping. They were just dancing on stage like drunk. I'm like, well, I don't want to see that shit, man. What the fuck? And that's
Yeah.
a lot of people around here, man. Like there's this place that people in the cross that you pay like $500 to get in. You book your event and I don't know, man. I walked off some shows, bro. Like I didn't want to be there anymore, man. That shit was lame as fuck.
Yeah.
And first
Well,
of all, they talk about like it's a festival. I'm like, what's a festival in your mind, man? Because like,
Yeah.
like I don't know, man. Like people say festivals all the time around here, and sometimes they're not even festivals. There's just people that they just book the ton of shows, and you still have to, like they put two fucking stages in one place and call it a
Yeah.
festival. And it's like, the fuck, can I even buy some food around here? What the fuck's going on here? And I don't know, man. A lot of people just, they
Well-
call it a festival, but
like I said, just stay on the right track, man.
yeah.
Fuck pay to play shows. That shit is
Yes.
bullshit. Fuck the ticket selling scam shit that these whack promoters do. That
Yeah.
shit is all garbage.
Yep.
Just know your worth as an artist and respect the real artistry.
Absolutely.
That's all you got to do, man. That's what you got to do. That's what more artists need to do, so we can move forward. And start the real artist movement or something. Like I don't know what needs to happen, but something needs to change, because that shit's happening everywhere. It happens here. It happens everywhere we see. All the big areas, all the big states, all the big cities. It happens everywhere. It's fucking terrible. Except
Yeah.
probably like Europe. Maybe it doesn't happen because I see most fucking golden era artists go to Europe and they are able to sell out like fucking gigantic theaters and shit. So like maybe it's not happening there, but here it's definitely happening. Like shit's ass backwards, definitely needs to change. But we've been going almost an hour. I don't want to completely cut it off because we've had great conversation, but I have one more question, not even music related, because I was out there recently and man, why did you tell me about the Breakfast Club? The Breakfast Club.
Oh
son.
shit, man.
The Breakfast Club is fire. So like me and my daughters went there. My oldest daughter, huge Breakfast Club fan. Then we get in there and they got all the 80s shit popping. And then like we did the 80s trivia. Like we're sitting there just looking at all this crazy shit. I'm like, man, Fernando, why ain't you? I had to find it myself, man. Come on, man. You should have broke down and told me about the Breakfast Club, man.
Hey, that's fair. You know what? And you know what? To be real, I had so much shit like in my mind, bro, that I felt like a trip performing. Like I don't know what it was, but like just the whole week, it was a shit ton of stuff, huh? Like and
We had a busy week, but you never would have thought to tell him about the Breakfast Club.
yeah.
He wouldn't have. That's not the place that like you would have got recommended. Like
I try to shoot for more like Mexican joints.
yes, I was gonna say he'd tell you.
Which I love Mexican joints. And the last place you did tell me was fire. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then me, I would tell you about the Indian place, New Taste of India. Oh, it's my favorite food in the world.
And I love that too. And next time I come there, that's where the fuck I'm going next time.
Yeah. Oh, I get to go there on Thursday. I'm so excited.
But yeah, man. The Breakfast Club though, man. Come on, man.
I'm glad you had such a good time.
It was great. It was like a staple, man. And then the night before we went to this man, I can't even remember the name of it. It was an Americanized Mexican spot. It reminded me of this place, Bel Air, that's in Milwaukee. Because it had it was downtown. It was like what is it?
Pato Azul.
Yes, I think that is what it is.
It's kind of nice inside and everything.
Yeah, it's super nice inside.
Yeah,
Like the food was good. Like my food was good, but it was like I ordered a strawberry margarita, right? And it came in like this little fucking
Little cup. Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what is this? This is what? What is that? But yeah.
that time too. We got drinks there. It was like, oh, okay.
But that place was cool too, man. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all got some dope food spots. So what's your favorite? What's your all-time favorite? I mean, is Taste of India your all-time favorite? What's your all-time favorite
Yeah, for me,
lacrosse spot?
for
Lacrosse
me,
spot.
my all-time favorite lacrosse spot is definitely New Taste of India. Indian food is just my favorite food on the planet. It's, oh my goodness. I eat it for all the holidays and stuff because it's just my favorite food. But yeah, and then I'm like a coffee girl too, so I like coffee shops. The Root Note has the best latte in town for sure. Like the best coffee in town.
That's what's up.
Dang, now too. Dang. I like Mexican food, but it's like one of those things where it's like I don't go there as often because I try to make it just special when I do go.
Mm.
It's this place called Taco Mix.
Mhm.
I think that place is good. It's like more like authentic, and I just don't go there as much because I'm trying to make it special when I go. You know what I'm saying? You know, because if I go there all the time, I just think it will ruin it.
We go to Tequilas. We like to go to a Mexican place
Yeah,
called
that place is
Tequilas.
dope.
They'll bring you the big margaritas and like the food is like the food is good. It's not like the craziest, most amazing like food you've ever had in your life, but like you can count on them to be there and it's good.
Yeah.
And they make guacamole, like, and the other place makes guacamole straight up. I don't like places, Mexican joints, especially when they're like guacamole, you spend like $6, where the fuck. They bring you this cheap ass, like green paste looking thing. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, man?
Yeah.
I don't like that stuff. It pisses me off. Like, you can't even make your own guacamole, bro. How the fuck am I gonna you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you know what the thing is you know, I could tell a great authentic Mexican spot in Milwaukee or even like a little bit of surrounding areas is they don't charge for the chips and salsa, bro. And it's usually fire.
That's
Those are the
true.
best. Those are the best joints. Those are the best.
Yep.
Like if I know that they're putting chips and salsa on the table and I ain't got to pay for this shit and it's fire, I know the whole menu is gonna be fire. That's how I know.
I would even appreciate if they brought the chips and salsa out and then they threw it on your bill because I would laugh at the jokes. I wouldn't go back there, but I'd be like, all right, that's actually kind of badass that they do that.
Some places do, or they bring you more and they don't tell you that you have to pay for it when they bring you more, but they don't tell you that. Yeah.
But Fernando, if we book something out this way, man, you come out here. I'm gonna show you some spots, man. I definitely know the spots.
I like trying new things and like I like spicy stuff too, so keep that in mind.
That's what's up, man. Cool, man. So, Pastor, you got another question for them before they?
Oh man,
He's got
what? Well, dude, you were like you were in wrap up mode, so I was like, all right, shut the gears down. Don't try to think of a question because otherwise you're just gonna be angry that you didn't get to ask this question. It's gonna burn in your head for the rest of the
Firing
fucking.
on 0 cylinders.
I've done that for myself before, where I've had like a question and then it was like, all right, we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm like, oh, start right there, you son of a bitch. And I'm Joe Pesci for the rest of the night. So I was gonna ask, like, so if you do a lot of freestyling, like with your sets and stuff like that. So like when you're doing that, when you do your creative process and you're like making an album or you're doing stuff, I don't know how many like solo projects or anything that you have done, but is your process the same as it is with the live performance, where it's like a mixture, or do you use that kind of more as reserved for like writing time and say freestyling for like more of those sessions or those live performance venues?
It's interesting. Yeah. I do write. I never want to let that go. And then if I do work a project, all right. Sometimes I do just freestyle certain things. But when it does come to like album mode, I definitely do write most of the stuff. And sometimes I even write lyrics for artists that are contributing to the album. Like my last album was called Chasing Sunsets, and it had 14 songs and like 16 features on it. And sometimes I even wrote certain parts for other people. So I guess long story short, I do write like most of it, yeah, or all of it basically. Or
Yeah, or even like I remember when Eric was playing guitar, like you literally like he almost like directed like what he wanted. Like, do you know what I'm talking
Yep,
about? Like,
yep.
yeah, he pretty much like directed the guitar part.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
actually my favorite, like doing that those projects and stuff, because then there's people that come in instruments, guitars, saxophones, and like I'll tell them how to play it, and I think it's really cool that people are very like straight up with me, like that's I love that, or I don't want to do that, or yeah, let me know. And like I love that. It's like being a part of the producer, and having a crew that's super awesome and fucking chill with it and lets me write and be like that for them. And yeah, so I pretty much I have quite a bit of albums, and I love doing it, man. It's super fun. It could be
That's dope.
stressful though too, because I just want to make sure it sounds good. And like I'll send a track to someone like, yo, and I'm thinking hopefully they fucking love it, but I just have to go with it. Like, like not doubt myself. Maybe it's like they'll fucking love it. And all the time they have loved it. So yeah, man. Writing, and I know that you do a whole like do you freestyle most of them, or you write more? When it comes
Me,
to
I write everything that I do, and like
Nice.
I've just recently started to get into doing freestyling. I haven't really done it live at like shows and stuff, but I've been practicing it a lot more lately because it's something I want to get into doing a lot more of, and then having sessions and shit. Especially if me and Denku are going on a tour, I definitely want to be able to fucking do that and fucking bat the ball back and forth because I think it'd be fun. But I never really had anybody like that in the camp that I came up in originally that like was into freestyling at all, really. We were all kind of more writers. And that's really what got me into like I did poetry before I did hip hop. Like I didn't ever even think about hip hop until I just like it found me. Like I found it somebody that was doing it. I just happened to be there. They kind of took me under their wing and showed it to me, and I ended up really liking it because I found it like it to be a different, more challenging and expansive outlet than just like simple poetry. It's like, yeah, I could write in other styles, but like, man, hip hop, I can really do whatever the fuck I want, and I can really explore a lot of different things. So like for me, part of the writing process that I really like, and it's the thing that has been the most difficult about freestyling for me because one of the things I love about writing is the polishing of stuff. Like I'll have these raw ideas and I'll write these bars and they'll be good and then I'll make them great. And then I want to make them exceptional. Like I want to really like if there's things that need to be changed, things that need to be dropped out, things that need to be altered. I love that part of the process as much as I like the original conception of it. So it's like the whole expansive going through and doing this. It's like originally I thought I would want to write books, but it became too boring because it was like once I figured out what was going to happen in the book, it was like I'm done with this. I already read this book.
I feel that, yeah.
I don't want to finish writing it. Like this sucks. So like I did that a couple times and then finally it was like, all right, I gotta find something more short form because like once I get bored with it, I don't want to do it anymore. And that's why like doing songs is great because it's like endless supply of being able to as long as I can continue to get dope beats from different people, which has never been a problem. And then I just have an endless supply of like paper that I can just write all this stuff on.
Yeah,
So
'cause
it's
you have a huge like a vocabulary, and I realized that about you. Super dope. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, so that's one thing that stuck out to me too, like the way your lyrics were and like your vocab. So I was like, damn man, this guy knows what's up, you know what you're doing. And so yeah, so I think it's super
Yeah,
dope.
it's always been I mean, that was kind of the main focus for me when I originally got into it was like and the thing that I appreciate, like, and it's from everything in lyricism, from like people that are more on that same spectrum as like me using different words that you don't necessarily hear as often in music to begin with or in general. And then also like people that are clever with their wordplay and say things in a way that you haven't heard it before. Like MF Doom was really good at that. There's a lot of people that I can think of that like Indicut, guy we know, he's fucking a master of that. Like he'll say really slick things that are like Sean Price was another one. Like he would just say shit that was like relatively simple, but the way he said it was like, God damn, that was so unique and creative. And I love that element of it too. So like seeing all of those different things. And I mean, that's another part of the reason why like hip hop and just art in general really like grabbed me when it did get me at like, it's what I want to do forever, because it's like a never ending stream of something that you could, there's always something to learn. There's always something to improve on. There's always something to add. Like, there's just so many ideas that like, it's cool to have something you're not pigeonholed in. And like, I feel like hip hop, for all the problems the genre has, that is one of the things that like, for better or worse, it is one of the most diverse genres of all genres, because there's just like and a multitude of sounds that exist within that whole spectrum of hip hop. So it's like it's dope to be able to like, it doesn't all appeal to me, and it's definitely not all stuff I intend to explore, but there are a lot of different elements that I like to explore. Like freestyling was a thing that I wanted to get into, like Denku with the live performances, doing some vocal scratching. Got me doing some of that stuff on the record that we're putting together, like just like that kind of stuff. It's just like it rubs off on you, and it's like they're those little things that you pick up on and appreciate about like different people in your life as you go on. In music, that exists in such a big way, where it's like, man, so many people, like it's like we're all working towards this common goal together. We're all crafting this clay together, and like people are figuring out different tricks and different ways to manipulate the clay. And it's like I like to find the different things that like, wow, I didn't even think about that. What can I do? What can I do with that? What can I do with that tool? What can I do with this tool? How could I implement stuff that like, or is this something that I just want to appreciate? Is it something that I wouldn't want to implement in my own music, but I enjoy it with other people? Like there's some people that do a lot of harmony things, and it's not something that's really up my alley of creating, but I love to hear it when it's done well. Like it's great. Like Rambunctious, our homie in the CyphaDen, like me and Mars call him Captain Hook, because every time we send him something, they're like, yo, Ram, give us a hook. He just like drops out this crazy hook, and a lot of times he'll sing, and it's like, man, like it's not something that like really has appealed to me as something that I've wanted to personally explore, but I love to see when people do that, like do their own thing and like follow that, like what that buzz that exists within all of us. I think if you're doing this, like you got to have that like that weird subtle feeling of like being electrified or being on fire, from the inside, that's just like can never quite be quelled, but is like temporarily satisfied every time you create something, every time you perform, every time you exercise that muscle. It's like it has to be used. And it's like that's why it's, and Denko and I have talked about this as well, with people that seem to have that, losing that, and then just like walking away from it all. And we've seen it a couple times with various people, and it's like it blows both of our minds. Like I feel like it's probably even crazier for Denku, because it's like, man, he's somebody that's been doing this for 30 years already. So it's like you figure if it was fatigue, like if anybody was gonna find it, like this dude's been doing a lot for 30 years, and he's still continuing to add new tools to his, and new skills to his resume, like with the video edits and the, adding the podcast content, adding these reels, adding these different things. Like just the ambition never dies. And I feel like I don't know, it's the golden snitch that I'm always chasing, is like that thing that drives us all. The people that are like that, the people that like, people that love to do this is people that live to do this. And it's like the ones that live to do this are the ones that really, really fascinate me. And they exist in a lot of different genres, but like hip hop's just the one that became my home. And it's like, I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautifully
Um,
said. Beautifully said.
yeah. So before we get up out of here, Amelia, Fernando, tell me both what you have going on as far as music goes that's coming up, that's brand new, whether it's shows, whether it's albums, and then also drop how people can get in touch with you if they were interested in working with you or reaching out to you for shows or hook or whatever.
Yeah. I'm always working on new projects. I have like a shit ton, like you can say like in the vault, just ready. Um, but as far as right now, I really wanna drop some really good like a straight up rap little tape that I've been kind of working on, and still working on getting some people to hop on these songs. But yeah, so basically doing that and then doing all the shows with my band, and then I got some shows coming up as well. So and then pretty much I guess will be easiest on Instagram, Fernando Mendoza Music. You can find me there. And I'm on all platforms too. Fernando Mendoza Music is pretty much what I go by there. And so yeah, I got a lot of stuff in mind. But I'm trying to tackle one thing at a time because usually I do a shit ton at a time, and I'm trying to do one. So it sounds solid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what I got going on right now. And Amelia?
Yeah, I have some songs that are really close to being ready of my own that I'm going to be working on releasing, especially over the winter. I'm kind of a slow mover because kind of to Pesto's point, like about people who like walk away from it or don't release too much. You know, the world it can be hard. The world can get you down. Like, you know, we got to work jobs. Like, I know I work full time. Like, you know, like life is just hard for me to balance. Like for some people it's easy for them to just go to work and then be working on music and then have a social life and then work out and then do this and then do that. But for me it's hard. So basically it takes me a super long time, as well as like just my process is like it can be very slow. Like I might spend months writing a song, you know. But anyways, I have some music that I'm working on releasing, and then we're also starting a thing where because so I love EDM. I'm fucking obsessed with EDM. That's just yeah, and I can't produce it. So Fernando is starting to produce some more like EDM stuff for me, and then I just get to like write to it and sing on it, and we're working on that. And yeah, and so I have a YouTube channel pretty much, Amelia Lidstrom on YouTube. I have an Instagram, people can follow me. I have my account private, but people can follow me if they have like a profile picture and they don't look like they're completely insane, like they can follow me. um, but yeah, and I have a band camp. So
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, this has been super dope. And also, you know, we talked about it at the show. We're definitely gonna get something popping. Uh Me, Fernando, Amelia, we're definitely gonna make a joint happen. Uh make something happen. And for the people that don't know, uh, you know, like Fernando had said, we got a joint out there in the world. Shout the joint out, shout the video out real quick, Fernando.
Yeah, it's called One Day at a Time. Uh uh Denku, myself, Fernando Mendoza, and Georgie. Actually, originally it was Tom Smith, but some things went down with him. It's all good. We're all good friends and everything, but an opportunity came up for Georgie, and I thought he was perfect for it. So yeah, that's on YouTube, One Day at a Time. Um, Fernando Mendoza featuring Denku and Georgie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a great way to wrap it up is just to touch on your line, Denku, and that song where you say, "No, I'm not a celebrity. This is my identity." And I think that that kind of wraps up some of this conversation truly, because you know, like, just you're out there like working so hard and like grinding and like because you love it and because you can't stop and because you're so passionate about it, not because you're making millions and not because there's, you know, millions of people screaming your name or like whatever, which we all, I'm sure, you know, wanted at one time. Maybe we still want it in our heart of hearts or whatever, but like we keep going because it's our identity. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah.
Definitely dope way to wrap it up. I appreciate y'all to the fullest. This
Nice.
has been the CyphaDen Chat podcast in association with the Denku podcast, brought to you by CyphaDen Music, where we inspire even those higher. And remember to never stop chasing your dreams, because you will never know what you are fully capable Oh,
Mm.
that's how we wrap it up right there.
I gotta. Is that an index card or is it on your phone? Like I got.
It's on the phone, son. I'm saying it every
It's on
episode.
the phone.
Every
Okay,
episode.
I know you've been saying it every episode. And I was just like, dude, has he got a special index
Yeah.
card that he's got in his studio? Just he dusts it off every Monday. Like,
I got a special closer for every episode, man. Every episode.
yeah. I
That's
was
what it is.
hoping it was in a physical form. I was hoping that was like you had it written on an index card, and every
You can
week
write
you
it.
just.
You can write it out for me, and then it'll be the physical form.
Yes, it should be because then it'd be like that thing's time to shine every week.
There it is. There it is. But yes, I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. We got my homie, the Pesto Pestilence, who is the co-host this evening, pretty much every evening on the CyphaDen Chat. And tonight we had special guests, Fernando Mendoza with Amelia Lidstrom in the building by way of La Crosse, Wisconsin. We just did a dope show. If you were there, we appreciate you. If you were not there, you missed out on some dopeness. That's all I'm going to say about it. But we appreciate y'all for coming through, and we will be in touch. Look forward to more shows in the future. And
For having us.
Thank you.
yeah, we're out of here.
Thanks
Peace.
for coming, guys.
Nice
All right,
meeting.
y'all. Yes, yes.
Adios.
End it. I'm doing the hand thing.